Hi, 4th grade. The purpose of this video is to give you instructions from Friday, November 13th. Last week in class, I showed you how we have our November post started, and I told you that our October post was going to be deleted from the stream. That information has been transferred into the virtual art room. I have been working on updating the virtual art room and adding the October virtual art galleries, so make sure you check out all of the cool artwork that 4th graders made in the month of October. Last week when we met live, I introduced our November schedule and the art making choices for the month. So important things to remember is that for the month of November, you need to make one project. That one project is due by the end of the school day on Friday, December 4th. You are either to make a project inspired by shape or do one of the monthly drawing prompts. Today we are going to be talking about the November tips and techniques before you then make your final decision on how you're going to make art this month and start your project. Now once you have the tip and technique document open, you will see on the first page there is a link to our demonstration video. I will come back to that in a little bit. Before I do that, we're going to talk a little bit about tessellations. Tessellation in 2 dimensions, also called tiling, is a topic in geometry that studies how shapes or tiles can be arranged to fill a space without any gaps. Tessellations can be found in nature and are a very common way of decorating. M.C. Escher was a Dutch artist who made mathematically inspired prints. His work features mathematical objects and operations, including impossible objects, explorations of infinity, reflection, symmetry, perspective, geometry, and tessellations. A mosaic pattern or image is made of small regular or irregular pieces of colored stone, glass, or ceramic. Pieces are held in place by plaster or mortar and they cover a surface. Mosaics are often used as floor and wall decoration. So mosaics and tessellations are related. However, tessellations are a little bit more mathematically based. Our next slide here shows a lot of artwork by contemporary artists. So these are artists that are alive and making art today that use mosaics as their medium. Our technique of the month is going to be scumbling. Scumbling happens when you use circular motions. All of the materials that I use today work well with scumbling, but you can see that I'm making light, medium, and dark values of those different colors or values. And then lastly, we're going to take a look at how to make a shape-inspired collagraph. Now, I decided to use a robot because I made a lot of different shapes. But the subject matter, if you were to decide to make a collagraph, is completely up to you. Our supply list are a piece of cardboard or other pieces of cardboard as well, like a cereal box. Found objects, anything that you might have laying around that might be kind of flat. Scissors, white glue, paper, crayons, and washable markers. Now I used the washable markers like paint, and I used a Ziploc bag to color the marker or to get the color onto a surface before I then pick it up with a wet brush. So if we head up to that link, we're going to switch on over to our video to watch me in action. Now you're going to notice that again, different media does look different as I work. All of the different media that I use here, I would say, can successfully do scumbling, but what changes is the amount of scumbling that I've done. So larger circular motions versus smaller circular motions, overlapping my circular motions to make a darker value. Now, if you wanted to use scumbling, you could use it in any of the monthly drawing prompts, or you could do scumbling as you make a still life. Now I've got a cereal box that I'm cutting up with some other random found pieces of cardboard that I have. I also used a couple of buttons, a paper clip, and some plastic pieces that I had in my scrapbooking supplies. Now once I have all of my pieces made, I am using white glue to glue those pieces down, and then once that white glue is dry, I'm ready to start making a collagraph. So I'm going to tape my cardboard to my table and then tape a piece of paper on top of that piece of cardboard. That's going to help my paper stay in place while I use a wax crayon to then color on top. So I used a black crayon, I used a white crayon, and I used a gray crayon as I was working. Now I wanted to experiment with different colors to see what different effects that it would make, but you only would have to do one. Now once my collagraphs were finished with the wax step or the crayon step, I decided to paint on top of them with washable marker to create a wax resist technique. So you'll see that you can still see the crayon through the wax. It blocks or repels where it is on the paper, and then the paint is able to soak into the paper where there is no wax. So I'm just coloring on top of a Ziploc bag and then picking that up with a wet brush. So I would encourage you to give a collagraph a try. So Lincoln Trail, with this instruction, you should now be starting a project. Hopefully you know what you would like to make and are ready with those materials. If not, you should be starting really soon. Next week when we meet, we will be having a work day. During that work day, I would love to give you any feedback on a project that you have started. It'll give you time to work, and you can share work that you have with your class as well. Next week, I will also then post the assignment so that once you have your project complete, you can turn that in. So Lincoln Trail, I look forward to seeing you again real soon.